weekend, minimum.
It takes more than snow, man. It's got to be like a biting cold wind, and you're gonna have to be standing outside for like the length of a football game or something, right?
For an extended period. I ordinarily make it till about this 2, maybe 3 games left in the football season before I put pants on to go watch a Friday night game.
Gentlemen, we're live. Just like that.
I once saw a man in northern Wisconsin, and this is Martin Luther King weekend, middle of January. It's like colossally, it's so cold that when I put the my bike on the bike rack on the hitch, that my hands were so cold that the bike ended up falling off because I couldn't get it tight. Anyhow, I walk into the Triggs in Eagle River, and there is Northwoods man wearing jeans and a t-shirt, but he had a Carhartt vest over the t-shirt with no sleeves at all. And I'm like, number one, this guy understands fashion. And number two, he doesn't need sleeves because he's got a Carhartt vest on, right? The core is warm. Forget the rest of it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, he's changed my philosophy on a lot of that stuff. Like when you have to go to long pants, you can shorten the sleeves if you need the breathability.
No, and that's why that's the beauty of the zip off sleeve.
Yes.
Because there is a beauty. There is a beauty to a zip off sleeve.
So Ray, there was a problem brought to my attention at lunch today.
Uh-oh. What is that?
People have no idea we're doing this occasionally.
Well, first of all, we have to tell them. And secondly, we probably have to be more, what do they call when you do something regularly?
Regularly.
I can't think of the word, but we have to do it more.
I don't really care either way, because for me, this is basically therapy, but they seemed interested in possibly chiming in.
Well, the funny part is, and I don't know if this is happening to either one of you, but I've had people randomly walk up to me and go, "Oh, I see you defense attorneys watching that." I'm like, "No, you don't." And he go, "Oh yeah, no, I've seen it. I follow it." I go, "Okay, great."
The view
I don't know what to do with that.
Oops,
I did what?
I said the view count on all the old videos keeps going up. So
people, they're going back and they're looking at these things.
Well, they're going back to find out how brilliant we are.
Well, how brilliant you are. I'm still trying to figure out how
you don't have to go back to see how smart we are, because we'll tell you every time we're here. You know?
Just ask us.
Just keep going forward. We'll tell you. We nailed every prediction. Every one.
We really were Nostradamus-like.
Still are.
Well, I'll tell you what, in a couple of them, laughably, we were really, 4th of July, Disney opens just after. Wow. I wasn't my prediction. I think that was yours, Pat, but I was like this. And then Matt on the sentencing on the lady that we talked about, Matt hit it on the head. Like there. Why have a sentencing hearing? Just call Matt. That's what I tell people. Just call Matt.
Well, if Matt had a choice in sentencing, that sentence would have been a lot different. But
what would you have gone with? Put him in a corner.
Like this is politically unpopular, but you can make a really good case that it should be a number where there's a hope that she's getting out, right?
Just call Matt. Why? We did the unthinkable.
Because we called we pay lip service that it's correction. It's a correctional system, and if we're not trying to correct the most heinous of the people, then what are we doing? It's like if the system's not working for the people on the fringes, then what are we doing? Why have a system like this? Because a lot of those middle of the road people are really easy to deal with. It's kind of
right.
It's kind of like some of these specialty courts. If you're only allowing people who really aren't that serious of a problem into specialty court, you don't have a great specialty court. You've got a great selection process that pumps up your numbers. So,
well, it's the Department of Corrections, not the Department of Criminal Storage.
Right.
There's supposed to be some rehabilitation.
I was frustrated when my DUI cases came in and I had people who were suffering from mental illness. This was before we had DUI court. And I would say, this person really should be in mental health court. And they were like, "Oh, we don't do DUIs." And I was like, the crime matters. I don't. Well, the answer is, I guess, yes, but I was like, wow.
So
Mental health issues only need help on certain crimes.
Yeah, exactly.
As it turns out.
My first brush with McHenry County Mental Health Court was a guy who was a chef and got in a dispute in a restaurant and like tore up the menus and then went back and pulled the network cords out and somebody claimed that they had been battered, so they hit this guy with a felony ag bat. Like no background, right? But he's got all kinds of documented mental health issues. And this is 15 years ago. And we try to put him in mental health court. And he was accepted to mental health court until they learned that his address in Algonquin was on the wrong side of the county line. So most of Algonquin is in McHenry County, but the southern part is in Kane County. And he lived just over the border at Kane County. So they bounced him out of mental health court. And then the state turned around and offered him 180 days. And it's like, first of all, your mental health court is a little bit ridiculous if somebody living 2 blocks away is not going to get in. And second of all, as a state attorney's office, how do you take somebody who qualifies for mental health court other than through his residence, and now you're going to offer this guy jail time? It's ridiculous. It's whatever.
It's because Matt, jail cures mental illness
and poverty.
It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. That's that is the cure to mental illness is time in jail.
It's underutilized, but complete isolation, no counseling is often the cure all for any mental illness.
Yeah. Dehumanizing people through like locking them up and not letting them see other humans. And that's
if you guys were famous, they would be using these quotes.
A long documented history of success with that technique. Whatever. So speaking of me not being on Twitter, I have no idea what you guys want to talk about today. I literally, it has been so refreshing from a mental health standpoint to have people be like, and this is a terrible example, but to have people be like, did you hear about Gale Sayers? And I'm like, what, did he break another record? No, he's dead. Oh, I mean, I wish I would have been sooner on the Gale Sayers, but all the horrific, horrible stuff and just the drama that is so easy to get caught up on when you like log into Twitter and it's just one political tweet after another. It's been like so good for my mental health. So I don't know what you guys want to talk about, but I'm really excited to learn about what's happened in the world.
There's actually a documentary out that talks about it's called Social Dilemma, I believe.
Somebody asked me if I saw it and I was like, no interest. I'm in the middle
of
no. Cobra Kai.
But the thesis in it is that you get these hits of news and you react to them, and it's sort of a dopamine reaction. Or you do something on Facebook and then somebody posts a like and then you're kind of engaged and you spend all this screen time. And then as it turns out, there's AI search engines behind it that are feeding you stuff, trying to keep you engaged so that they can sell your time for advertising.
Right.
Well, is that the basis of the Facebook class action suit?
The Facebook?
No, the Facebook class action suit is a suit because of the Illinois law that doesn't allow companies to use biometric data on people. And Facebook used biometric data to identify people, so they could say, if Pat's picture's on my Facebook, it goes, do you want to tag Pat Walsh? And because they use the biometric data, which is in contravention to the law, they have to pay damages now. So that's what that's about.
I just want to take a quick second for a commercial here. If you are working somewhere where they're scanning your fingerprint as a way to log in and out, I happen to be married to somebody who files class action lawsuits based on that law Ray is talking about and could possibly get you some money. So get in touch. Go ahead.
My question is
free advertisement.
What do you need to be? What classifies you as or what certifies you as a class member for the Facebook thing? Because my kid texted, he got some text or email or something. I was like, I don't know if you qualify or what.
Do you want, for a short period of time, a slightly intoxicated guest who deals in this area law and can explain that to come join us?
You've answered your own question, my good man.
Hold on one second.
How do we not have that? That's what I want to know.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm trying to mute this dumb thing. Hang on. I'm Trying to mute
The
it so I can
guy-
holler upstairs and be like, Mara, get down here. Hold on.
The guy who runs the Chiron is going to need the spelling of her name. So he can scroll it along the
There
bottom.
you go. Hold on a second. Let me.
I think he muted us, Pat.
He did. He did.
He did. And he did.
I'm not walking
Oh.
up there. It's like 14 steps.
13.
All
Count 'em again.
Mara, we need to get you on the YouTubes here. Slightly intoxicated Mara. Hold on a second.
Oh, I have to ask you a question because I think that you would know. Is she close?
Oh, she is.
Why can't we have her instead of Matt?
So
She's
these guys had a question about the Facebook biometric lawsuit, and Pat has a kid who is somehow involved in it. Pat, what's your question?
He sent me, I'll read it to you. He sent me a text essentially asking him if he wants to join the class. What the hell is it?
What case? Who?
The Facebook one.
Oh, the Facebook one. Yes.
You want me to say it
Yes.
a third time?
No,
What,
I'm sorry. Yes.
am I eligible to receive a payment from the settlement? I'm a little skeptical about telling him to
No.
click on anything
Click
he's
yes.
getting-
You want money.
But Pat's worried it's a phishing thing, right?
It's not. Well, I haven't gotten one yet.
what classifies or certifies him as a class member?
If he chose the photo verification tool, they had a template to recognize him by his face, like they did a face scan to recognize him in pictures. You know, how it says you tag people in pictures and they're pre-tagged.
I don't Facebook. I Twit
Oh.
and I Insta.
What?
I'm on Facebook and I have not received that yet, but it's like it's some cash. I think people should choose it. Plus, if you're part of the class, they are taking steps to make sure that some data is destroyed.
If I have more than one page, can I collect twice?
Good question.
I have a law page and I have a personal page.
Well,
And
if
I
it-
have a political page. And
If
I have a
there's-
running for president page.
I
from
don't
$200 to
know.
$400, which is a college student, I would have probably cut a fingertip off for $400.
How much is it? 400 bucks?
200 to
I thought-
400 per person.
I thought it was
Ooh.
3, but yeah, no, it's good. And the attorney's got a lot more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody's getting paid.
So
So yeah, if it can say,
they have-
hey,
they-
put some money in my account text for me for a couple weeks.
yeah.
The
I'll note they
second
have to
question,
submit- Facebook is a little different from the other cases. They do have to submit a claim, but I didn't
Okay.
know how it was.
the second question we have is, when the attorneys get the $55 million, do they Scrooge McDuck into it or do they just sleep with it? How do they,
They divide it into piles, Ray, and burn half of it because it's not about the money to them.
it's not about the money.
One already bought a lake house, but that's not a big deal, right? Just a little lake house.
No, if you buy a lake,
Like Como in Italy, no big deal.
We
yes,
have
you
cases all
just
the
buy
time where
Lake
we
of the
just buy lake
Ozarks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just curious. Unless it just came through, I didn't get one. So that was the only thing. But I knew it was coming.
Do you think you're being discriminated against?
We'll see. We'll see.
Just think, if you hit a class action like that, Matt could actually start buying boats.
Yeah, real boats. Oh, wait a minute. You took a shot at me.
Wait, from boats from the 90s instead of the 80s.
Oh, okay. Time for you to go, Mark.
No.
Wow, this is
No,
this
I mean-
is
I
a
mean,
double
just-
team.
Did you just hear me get
Double
permission
team.
to upgrade the fleet? Did you hear that?
That there's a lot of things you can insult on a man. Do not insult his boats. And that was not a shot at you. That was a shot at you not buying as many boats as you want.
Hey, we closed on the new boat today. Okay. Race boat. Yeah. It's from like 86 though.
Does it float?
What's that?
Did you get another sailboat?
Well, yeah, like we sold one, so we were down to 2 sailboats.
You didn't sell it to our friend, did you?
The guy I bought that boat with had a point if I didn't explain this. So our first slip is full price, our second slip is half off. And the only way to lock in that half off saving is to have 2 slips, right?
It's costing you
Right.
money not to buy that boat.
We're saving money.
You didn't, you didn't sell that boat to our friend, did you?
No. Oh, no.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Well, it's
Just
like
making
when I finally got the boat out of the third car, and we had 3 cars in the garage for about 3 weeks. Now we have an empty garage.
Well, that's a real easy problem to solve, Pat.
Do you have a checkbook, Pat?
I'm thinking
You have an empty garage.
I have a fishing boat.
Ray,
I'm
you gonna
thinking-
weld them up one of those jet boats?
What I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
We ordered the
Let's
kit.
get these things into production.
Like the
We
Batmobile
ordered
wheel
the
jet
kit.
boat. That's what I need. That little bastard will fit right in that third car for sure.
See, told you.
Right?
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
Business on the
Oh.
fishing boat, party on the jet boat. It's like it's a marine mullet, is what it is.
Boom. Okay, I have to ask you all a technical question,
Hit me with it.
and this is the technical question. How do you set bond for a guy who's riding a horse down the highway?
What is this?
So he's driving a horse down a highway, and he's a QAnon person. So he is protesting.
So this isn't the census
And,
cowboy.
This is
No,
not the,
this is the anti-census cowboy.
we've had every kind of cowboy, but this guy is a cowboy on the Dan Ryan. So we can see here that they set his bond at 25K. For those of you watching, you can expect that you would post 10% of that in order to get out, or $2,500. But I wanted to ask Pat and Matt, when it comes time for Judge Pat and Matt to set bond, how do they set bond for the dreadlock cowboy? What are the factors?
Does
For
the
me,
horse
there's
have a
no
criminal
factor.
history?
I bond that guy and I tell him to not ride his horse on the highway again. This is a dumb publicity stunt.
You I bond him?
Yeah, every penny
You're like, goodbye. You're like, goodbye. Get this guy, he's here for this. Go.
Yeah,
Go
but-
right now. Go.
All right, I got a lot of questions before I get to the bond.
Okay.
Number
Okay.
one, is the bond for him and the horse, or is it just for the rider? Because it seems
Good
to me the
point.
horse is just as culpable as he is.
Did they seize the
There
horse,
we-
right?
Did
They
they
seized
tow
the
the
horse.
horse?
They didn't tow it. They had somebody walk it out. They had a couple troopers walk the horse to
Is
wherever
there
they
a
took it.
forfeiture fee on the horse?
Oh, this was Illinois State Police.
Oh, that's good.
And what the hell did they charge him with that it was 25 G's?
I don't know. I don't know. When I saw this on the news yesterday, I was like, what is the crime? I mean, I understand that a freeway is a limited access highway and they don't allow pedestrians, bicycles. So I think that's the section of the law that he violated, because I don't believe that you can ride a horse on the shoulder or on the highway.
Does
Because-
Yes, but not the Dan Ryan.
But
Doesn't
I
this-
don't think it's a felony.
look?
Is it a
doesn't
felony to
this-
walk on a freeway?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's probably an access issue, but what this highlights to me is how dumb our law is sometimes, because punish this guy, don't punish him, arrest him, don't arrest him. There's nobody in the world
Okay.
that is going to be deterred by this man's arrest and prosecution. The Dan Ryan runs from basically the loop through the heart of the South Side towards the southern suburbs in Cook County. The number of horses there is so low. Nobody with any brains is hauling a horse to Chicago to go on that dumb expressway. I know there are some horses in Chicago, but there is literally no deterrent effect whatsoever to doing this. So, like, what do you get? Put this guy's horse on the trailer, drag him back to wherever he lives. I don't know. He's got a horse. I'm guessing it's like Barrington or something, and be like, dude, don't make us do this again. If he goes out there again, then maybe you arrest him, do whatever you got to do. But this is just like these one-off cases where we're going to make an example out of this guy so nobody else does it in the future are just the worst abuse of power that there possibly is.
Well, I just looked him up on NBC5. The horse may have to be euthanized. So the horse isn't going to be okay, Uncle Lair.
Why? Did it have an accident?
Why?
One of his front hooves are bleeding and there's visible sores on the horse's side.
Oh, you know what? At Arlington, they'd tape that thing up and tell him to get out for the next race.
I don't know if it's animal cruelty, but it says Hollingsworth, who has become known as the Dreadhead Cowboy, after showing up to various protests and demonstrations across the city, also faces several other charges.
I'm on doing a TV
obstructing
show. Right?
traffic and disobeying a police officer.
But is there an animal cruelty charge in there?
Yes, felony animal cruelty.
There's Tony. Say hi, Tony.
What's up,
Hi,
Tony?
Tony.
So that's where the 25
Tony said hi.
K bond comes from, the
Yeah.
animal cruelty charge.
So it's felony animal cruelty.
Okay, then I'm not opposed to that. I just thought they dropped 25K on a guy who was like did a dumb thing.
Well, I didn't see that. The only thing I saw at first was the disobey a police officer and obstructing traffic. I'm like, those are IVC petties. What? Animal cruelties. Yeah. Yeah, you can't really recog him after he had a horse on the Dan Ryan.
I'll join him on that. I'll
Like,
join
how
him
far
on
south
that.
Did he go? That's what I want to know.
He didn't get far at all. He backed up
How
traffic.
far south was he?
He backed up traffic and they had a patrol officer
But
behind
you know,
him.
in
almost
Chicago, that's
immediately.
really the issue. It has nothing to do with the horse. It has nothing to do with anything. It's that this dude congested traffic, and we cannot tolerate that crap.
That could be a class X felony.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the main thing. And you know, there were people driving by that guy wishing him death and stuff because he's slowing traffic down.
Guys, the horse is in critical but stable condition.
How long did that take you to put that one together?
Thoughts and prayers of the horse.
Well, it thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. It says here he's in care of a stable but in critical condition. I just switched him, Ray. I just did like that.
Sometimes
You know that there's already like horse savior groups coming out of the woodwork saying, "Don't euthanize that horse. We've got a spot for him." Like, let's be real about this.
You know you're talking to the former public enemy number one of the Squirrel Lovers Society. Right?
I remember, Pat.
Sometimes
he was just a little preemptive in his squirrel soup. You know, he went in the wrong order, right?
sometimes when I'm talking with people and they bring up law things, they talk about no-knock warrants.
Ray does not get the squirrel. He does not get the squirrel reference at all. We'll talk to you about that later, Ray.
Okay.
Oh man, I
I mean, number one. This guy.
So sometimes, as I said, you're talking with civilians and all of a sudden you tell them about no-knock warrants and then they say, they can't do that. Can they do that, Matt?
Ray, this like, I'm some of this like newfound consciousness of our system is really starting to grate on me because none of
That's not fair, Matt, because you know what? Before that consciousness, you were mad that they were not conscious of it.
No, that's not true. I mean, I've been pretty over it for a long time, and I said some of it because you know, in June we had the blackout day on Instagram, and everybody was telling me what podcasts to watch and what they're doing now and listen to. But like at this point, right? And to me, the critical point that would have started changing things should have been Rodney King. But at this point, especially everything post Ferguson, if we want to talk at millennials, like what do you think is going on out there? What terrible thing do you think the government can't do at this point, or isn't doing, or doesn't have an end run around? If you don't understand that your average cop in Illinois who has a search warrant is A, showing up when he knows people are in bed, 2, possibly knocking or ramming with the door, 3, not probably announcing that he's a cop, and 4, not showing people warrants when they show up, which is a ridiculous thing, or leaving them there, which is statute says they should do. But if your consciousness doesn't involve the idea that is kind of how warrants go down, you're just not paying attention at this point. There's not an excuse for it. I'm sorry.
Every warrant that I've seen served that I've either been on the scene of or shown up after it was starting to be served, it is 100% shooting a sparrow with an elephant gun. These guys come in like a company of seasoned combat veterans. like they are going to war.
So you think it's intimidation?
Not only are they legal in Illinois, they are 100% overused.
Look, who cares where it's legal? What's the remedy? It happens everywhere. Even where no-knock warrants aren't legal, they're happening. And you know what you can do about it? Nothing.
Yeah, it's
right?
knock, knock, police, boom.
Exactly.
You knocked. Maybe they didn't hear it from over the battering ram busting off the doorknob and shattering the door, but we knocked.
Even if it's the wrong house. It's like, I don't know, whatever. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic. Like, things need to change, but on the other hand, if you read the Constitution or you hear about something on I don't know what, Law and Order, Ally McBeal, what are kids watching these days, and you think that's how the world's operating out there, and this is a surprise to you, like, get outside your house, put the screen down and walk around. They're taught that this is a war between them and everybody else, and they act like it's a war, and they have war vehicles and they have war machines and they've got war guns, they've got all that war stuff. So you're asking yourself, how does the military operate, not how do I think the police operate?
And everybody wants to elect a judge. I want somebody who's tough on criminals. Well, guess who allows shit like this stuff like this to happen?
I mean, I could start listing a lot of people.
The most important election.
You were gonna tell names, Matt?
No, I can say, like, okay, it's the state's attorneys, it's the police chiefs, it's the judges.
Oh, Matt, hold on. I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Basically, every aspect of the political system that isn't us guys is allowing it to happen and doesn't care.
No, and insisting that it happened. We'll stop this 17-year-old kid. I'm sure he's got something on him. We'll find some reason to stop him. DW insert, consonant here. They're going to pull him over for any reason. And it's just, well, that can't happen. We have to stop that. Now suddenly it's an issue. No, it's been an issue. It always has been an issue. And as long as you have people rubber stamping these bullshit stops, it's going to continue to happen.
This is the most frustrating part of this job. It's having the conversation either with young kids' parents or younger people 3 times a day, like, where they're like, well, how do they do that to me? I didn't think they could do that. Why are they doing that to me? And you're like, dude, they've done that since the 50s, and they're not going to stop doing that. And now that you're in the system, we got to rush and change it when you probably voted for the idiots that are okay with this in the past. I don't know.
And that's the scariest thing about the local elections. The most important part of the local election is the one that people are the least informed about.
Your city officials are the ones who are picking that police chief, right?
Oh God.
I mean, your 1,500 citizen town probably has 4 or 5 aldermen or whatever, and those are the people who are picking the police chief, who has way more of an impact over your rights in your life than these people who are involved in these, far off cases anywhere that are killing people. Not that I'm not endorsing it, but I'm saying it's like, it's a joke when you have a local midterm election and voter turnout is like 18% or whatever, and now people are marching in the street. I mean, I'm all for the marching, but let's stay engaged when it matters, where it matters, which is like your local county clerk, your alderman, your mayor, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. I received a text today at 8. It says, Democrats are running a progressive activist against blank. It names a judge to enact their liberal agenda via our courts. Stop them. Reply yes for a blank sign.
That's a local judge election?
Yeah, I'll give you the name off the air.
I'm pretty sure I know who it is just based on a couple of those. Yeah, we can talk about that later. So what's your point, Ray?
They're out there fighting the liberal agenda.
And don't get me wrong, I don't expect a judge to walk in there and say there's no such thing as a good traffic stop. There's no such thing as a good criminal stop.
No.
But at the same time, you don't want somebody to say, Well, yeah, that stops okay. That stops okay.
You want to, Ray and I have had this conversation before about some of these cases where we're like, oh, I would have hammered that person, or I probably would probably not rule like people would think I would a lot of times because like the thing that gets lost with a lot of the judges is it needs to be like an individual case by case basis. And there's a lot of judges now who you get halfway through a hearing or a quarter of the way through the hearing and they make their mind up and they tune you out because they've heard this issue 100 times. Maybe not for this person, and they don't know what those facts are because they don't stay engaged long enough. But
my favorite is the pen down about a third of the way through your direct to the cop.
oh, staring up, looking around, shuffling papers over here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, all I ask for out of judges, and some of these judges running are going to give us that, but all I ask out of the judges is like, just listen to me till I'm done talking. And
don't get me wrong, we have judges up there.
Yeah, for sure.
And even when they rule against me, I'm like, all right, well, at least they listened to me. At least they
Right.
thought about it.
Right.
They
Right.
took it under advisement. I think they're wrong, but they went back, they looked at case law, they watched the video again, they did something. Think about it. We also have judges who go piss up a rope. You're going to get just as much of a chance of getting an arrest quashed as you would by running a full hearing.
I don't want to just pick on McHenry County, so allow me to pick for a moment on Kane County. I did a motion to quash and suppress a roadblock, like a roadside sobriety check, and the whole issue was that they had no stopping sequence. The stopping sequence was whenever we have more people, we stop more cars, which is not what it should be. Long story short,
That's a sequence.
What's that?
That's a sequence, Matt.
I get like halfway into it, and the judge is elbows on the desk, fingers on the temple, rocking the head back and forth.
Oh,
Oh, hold on a second. I hadn't even gotten to like the kicker, right? I'm not even to the punchline. And I just kind of paused for a second, and he goes, oh, this is the middle of my question. Oh, we've already gone through this. We've already gone through this. And I'm like, we have not gone through this. And she's not gone through this. We already heard this issue. We already dealt with this issue. And of course I lost, but I'm thinking like this guy did some other roadblock case at some other point that somebody contested. And then he's using that as basically a template to say, no matter what comes after me, that's all I'm going to, that's it. Like I've settled that issue. You guys should know not even to bring these cases anymore. So,
well, the horrific part is that he seems to be suggesting that you should only bring a probable cause motion if you have a unique, novel case that's never been heard before.
That judge left that room, but what do you think my response was going to be to that? If I
is that Judge B?
What's that?
Judge B?
No, this is a judge in King County.
No, I know, Judge B.
Judge B.
Old. Okay, forget it. We'll talk.
All right.
The last motion, no, not the last one, but one of among the last 3 or 4 that I ran, there's a judge that has, depending on the scenario, has a pre-printed denial that judge will read from. And
I know who that is.
It's a fill in the blank. And after all was said and done, my client was out of the room. I asked the judge if they had a pre-printed form for granting the motion, because I've never seen them read off a pre-printed form when they grant it, because I've never seen them grant it. To which great offense was taken by that question, and that judge stormed out of the courtroom.
This is why we're friends, Pat. Please tell me you interrupted to ask that question while he was reading, because I'd have been like, look, I already know how this ends. Can we get to my question now?
Yeah.
Why don't you just file that thing?
Well, that's what I said. You know, I'm walking out. I said it to her bailiff. Oh, whoops.
Nope, you just slipped.
We all know it's Judge McIntyre. It's fine.
I said it to Judge McIntyre's bailiff. I said, you know, they can just cut and paste that and we can file it.
I like when you said there was like a fill in the blank part of that. We know that the fill in the blank is the defense attorney's name, right? And
Defense attorney's name and defense attorney's client's name.
despite Mr. Walsh making much of this issue,
Yep.
I don't think that's the way it's supposed to go. But Pat, they're so overworked, you know, they have no choice but to cut corners for judicial economy or efficiency or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What? They have to read from a script to make judicial economy?
I remember arguing in law school with people that judicial economy or whatever were words that should never appear anywhere in a case, and people acting like I was some kind of a jerk for thinking that this should be a process that is slow and deliberate and individualistic. And
Well,
here I am 20 years later, and all this has done is cement my beliefs.
When you hear the words judicial economy, it just, in my brain, the subtitle appears of erosion of rights, deprivation of rights.
It's a word that really came up to describe maybe a way of running a system, like you know, we can schedule everybody at 9 because it's easier for the court that way instead of giving people individual start times. But you know, when you start to see how it's applied, and especially like I love when people act like summary suspensions should just be quick and short and easy, as though, you know, it's easy to sit on your pulpit up there and say, well, Mr. Walsh, you're running a 3-hour hearing that could be done in 20 minutes. Meanwhile, you're standing next to a guy who may not get his driver's license back for 3 years, right? Like, and we should run through that because you got other cases.
Well, what they never understood, and it drove me nuts, and I'm counting to 10 before I lose it. The suspension is summary in nature.
Right.
Hearing is a civil evidentiary.
Their hearing is not.
No.
Exactly.
Because when you do try and run one quick and you run it on the well, I didn't hear this and I didn't hear this, I didn't hear this, I didn't hear this. Okay, you know what? You will forever hear that.
My thought on that is always like,
You're
okay,
gonna hear it 5 times.
if you think this went too long, start giving us juries. Like if you think this hour and a half wasn't summary, let's have a jury on this and let's see what it takes 3 days, what you think about our hour and a half long hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and
How
nobody
great would
ever,
it be to have juries. You should have a jury on that.
it's a summary suspension hearing. Yes, it's a hearing on a what? What kind of suspension? A summary
But
suspension.
Pat, if we let people have juries, we would get overwhelmed by the due process we are begrudgingly giving these people.
That process is a train
So
wreck.
speaking of process that they're giving us, Pat, have you been back into the wheelhouse yet?
Perhaps Monday. We will see.
Okay, I got, it looks like I have 2 really good cases set for 3rd week in October, and I think I have 1 between now and then. So
Wait a minute. What room are you in the 3rd week in October?
303.
All right. I am set up, I think the 3rd week in October. 3rd week in October, I've got a 2015 case that is going, but that's going to be in 302.
I have,
Oh, okay.
I've got, from now on, I probably have 6 or 7 a week set until the beginning of December. And I'm trying not to schedule anything in December because I'm going to go fishing.
You know, I noticed how big those
Yeah.
shoulders were on the internet. I could see those big shoulders that Pat has, that he carries around all those cases.
I had a bunch, but they've gone away. But Pat, your firm was involved in a jury that was one of 2 juries going at the same time, right?
Yes.
This week, how did that go? I mean, how procedurally, how did it end up? Was it a nightmare?
I didn't, they're putting the witness in the middle of the room now in 204.
What?
Yeah.
Like between, so there's one attorney table that kind of looks at the witness box from the side and another one that's kind of facing the judge directly. They're putting them like in between there?
The two attorney tables are side by side, so it's one giant table. And then they move the pews where you sit and watch everybody get sworn in as you're looking at the bench. If you split the distance between the front row of pews and the front of the witness box, they now have like a makeshift witness stand there in the middle of the floor.
Oh, it would be cooler if it was just a chair and had kind of like an electric chair vibe.
Right? So when you don't
You
answer
know?
my questions, instead of getting up and yelling at you, which I can't do anymore because it's social distancing, I
Right.
can just use it. Yeah, like the dog collar, the bark collar.
Right, right. It would just be cool if it was just a chair. Maybe put a like bright light dangling right over it.
Swinging.
Yeah.
It's
How did that go? Like, I know you didn't do the trial, and your colleague Dan Hoffman did. What did Dan? And if you know Dan, you know that Dan does not want to do a trial in anything other than real conditions. But what did Dan say about like how it felt to do that?
we were running around this morning. I didn't get a chance to. I know the verdicts were 100% inconsistent
Ugh.
because there was two that he finished second on, and then I think 3 or 4 that he won.
It's too bad you can't really use that as a basis to appeal anymore.
I know. So I didn't get really a chance to talk to him because we were doing Zoom for Lake County, and then we were running around, and then I left and I went to took Tommy to Sauk Valley. So I didn't really get a chance to talk to him. I did go in there I gave him some stuff, and I prepped a witness before he went on, and I was there. It's very, even as spread out as it is, you're super claustrophobic because like they had an interpreter who was there for one of the witnesses who took the seat that I was in. So then the bailiff had to go and get one of the old bailiff chairs and put it off to the side. So even though I was there, I didn't start the trial, but I'm one of the guy's lawyers. I'm off literally in the corner. If you're looking at the bench, the far right corner is where I'm sitting. So every time I had to go up and give something to Dan or talk to Dan, I had to get up and make a huge scene and production out of it. So I did not stay there long because I was ready to lose my marbles.
What do they do with the mask? They keep them on?
You can take them off. If I'm questioning a witness, I can take it off. The witness's mask is off, but I have to wear it if the other side's examining the witness. So the only time I can take it off.
What about the jurors?
Jurors have theirs on. The jurors are off for voir dire. At least they were the ones that I've done. The masks are off for voir dire. They're on the whole time.
And then they're on besides that. Okay.
Yeah, they wear them, and then
During voir dire, it's the person I'm talking to that takes their mask down, or
Yeah.
they're all taken down at the same time.
If you're talking to somebody individually, when the judge is doing the whole Rec 14 thing, and he's talking to them. Well, at this point, it's like 6 at a time. When he's talking to
Right.
those 6, he's going down. Then they can take their mask off. They put it on, and then when I'm talking to them, they take it off. Or if I'm talking to them all in masks, they take it off. And they deliberate in the courtroom. Yeah. So they maintain their seating. There's no proximity. There's no sense of urgency. There's no, not that you want 12 angry men, but there's no, I'm talking to you from 40 feet away. There's no sense of urgency to resolve our dispute. I'm talking to you where we can touch elbows. Yeah, we want to get this thing done. Yeah, these are what we're
So has
ramming.
anybody made a motion that has anybody made a motion that said, yeah, I'm not doing it that way?
I'm objected to it.
I have.
It was noted.
You objected to it,
Yeah.
and it was noted.
Yeah. But
I have a guy who,
that was the one I, that got hung up.
right? I have a guy who says that he can't wear a mask. So he can't come in the courthouse.
It seems
Am I just going to end up suing? When I sue, do I appeal to the Supreme Court?
Because
Because that's their, no, I know, but that's their administrative function, right? I mean, this is a court rule. right? I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be a smartass. This is a court rule. I think the only place I can appeal a court rule would be to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So I guess I have to get ready for that. That'll be fun.
I just, maybe I'm old and stuck in my ways. I don't like the format. I don't like the configuration that they're in. I haven't
Well,
seen,
the thing is,
I think Dan did one in the jury assembly room. And I don't
how
know.
was that?
I didn't see that one. He didn't like it. You know,
Of
like-
course,
I
of course,
saw-
Pat, these cases that are going are all cases where there's speedy trial demands, right? Because they're picking and choosing and they're rank ordering what's going to go right now.
I'm assuming that everybody other than mine that went was, because why else would you go?
Right,
sure wasn't.
right. Yours
Although-
was an anomaly.
To be fair, the judge did give my client 65 chances to continue it. He was more than willing to do it. But she had professional licensing issues that were involved. So
That's the same thing that happened with mine, and then the state kicked it mid jury trial because it's such a nightmare.
So
Whatever.
I don't know. But I think the days of us
Matt,
saying,
do you have anything that we should talk about?
I have a lot of things that we should talk about, Ray, but I've been unplugged from the world and COVID and all the law drama, so I don't really have anything interesting to talk about.
I've relegated myself to, for the most part, I don't reply to political tweets. It's the Bears. I cannot. I'll sit there and I'll read 3 or 4 things about the Bears and I let it go. And then you see something stupid like, Mitch would
So
be
that's
all
what's
for
causing your real stress.
Are there still are there still people who are into Mitch on there?
Oh, the receivers are dropping, which by the way, the Bears are like 26th or 27th in losses caused by drop balls, meaning, a loss of a series, loss of yardage, whatever. They're like 26th out of 32 teams with the least amount of impact by drop balls, but now it's the receivers dropping balls that Mitch is,
The only people who could possibly say that are meathead Bears fans who are so meathead that they don't watch other teams. That's the only way you get there, right?
That was my last response. I responded to a guy, and he was the one who tweeted out that graphic showing the damage from drop balls. And I said, I feel like people who are blaming the drop balls in the defense, who, by the way, is like number 5 in scoring defense in the league. So, okay. Blaming the defense and drop balls.
Okay.
Hey, Jackson's not dropping balls.
I said, I feel like these people just watch Bear games, and that's their benchmark.
Yeah, like some Bear fans think like if Trubisky puts it on the fingertips, it's a good throw. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers is hitting you in the meat of the hand on every throw without you having to extend.
And you know what I've noticed too? Other quarterbacks, when they throw the ball to the receiver, they get to keep running. Like you don't have to stop and reach back and then get blasted by the mic coming over the middle.
I think there's a stat attached.
Shocking.
I don't know what it's called, but I think they started like an advanced metric for how many yards you get after you catch.
It makes you want to yak, doesn't it?
The way I've tempered my allowing that team to make me anxious the last 2 weeks is I've just watched parts of the games. And if it's a nice day, I grab the young Jedi and we go out for a walk or something, and we come back and we catch the very end of it. It's been another thing that's been like, I didn't realize how much of my mood was affected by that dumb team this time of year. So like just cutting back to little bits, I either check in and go, yep, this is exactly where I thought they'd be, or I check in and I go like, ooh, like I hope they don't screw this up. But I don't have the highs and the lows like I used to, and it's kind of nice.
Well, maybe I need to try that. And I've been taped because we were playing fall ball. I've been taping them, and then I'm like
He's saying don't watch the game. Is anybody listening to this? He's saying don't watch the game.
I'm
That's insanity.
I'm
Don't
coaching
listen to his insanity.
and I make a general announcement. Please, nobody discuss the Bear game with an earshot. And so far, we're, knock on wood, we're 2 for 2. But then I come home and I skip right through it. So it's just like incompetence, 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 incompetence. There's not even a break between the plays. And I feel like I'm getting possessed by Denny Green because I say that
The Bears are who we
every
thought
time
they
he-
were.
They are. who
We
thought
have
they
we
were.
have a chance of a Chicago World Series.
I have a better chance of growing hair longer than yours by the World Series than that
Yeah,
happening.
Ray. Which of the teams you think is going to win that series? Because right now it's looking a little shaky.
Well, hold on a moment. First of all, it's been an abbreviated season, and there's a learning curve.
Ray, your White Sox got into the playoffs and then put that.
My
thing on
White
cruise
Sox?
control. Yeah, they got into the playoffs and they put it on cruise.
I have to
control.
take the White
They did.
Sox and I have to take Trump. Boy, I keep on getting just stuffed.
You chose Trump.
White Sox, Trump.
Trump's
That's my two
got a better shot than
tattoos.
the White
When I
Sox. if they
become
get their shit
when I
together.
become a rapper, it's going to be white. It's going to be Sox, Trump. That'll be my tattoos on my face.
Isn't this season, Pat, a perfect example of why baseball seasons are 162 games and not less? Because baseball should never be a sport where somebody got hot for a month or even 2 months and rode it to the playoffs. Baseball's a sport where you need to be consistent for the entire. That's the beauty of the sport. And this season is like, it's just taken. Maybe it's got more appeal to people with shorter attention spans, but to me, this isn't baseball. I'm sorry.
It's they were fun to watch. I really got excited about what they're going to be.
Yeah.
And then kind of started thinking, all right, well, yeah, okay, yeah, this will have an asterisk. I don't care. And then they just hit the hooks. It was brutal.
To me, baseball is like how well is your team playing, let's say before the playoffs ramp up, but far enough into the season that you've just been on the road forever and you're dragging. Like, is your team still functioning in late July, early August, right? To me, that's the thing about a good baseball team is they power through that stretch. And this shortened season and these ridiculous games, it's too easy to stay on that high and not get a real good idea what these teams are. Which, right, what we're seeing about the White Sox is something that doesn't surprise you out of a young team, is they've been streaky, which is fine.
Right now, we're in mid-June.
Exactly.
I mean, that's where we're at. And that was the hardest with the club team in the summer. I was ready. I was the second game of the season. They didn't play a high school season. I'm losing my marbles, and an umpire comes up to me. He goes, "Coach, this is like the second week of March. This is what you should be expecting." And I'm like, "You're right. You're right. Right now, this is what we would get in middle of June 15th. This is what we would be getting." So, but it doesn't mean that they couldn't come, surge in July and August and make a run for it. But we won't know because we're going to have 60 games in 66 days.
And Ray, I appreciate you being positive because as a White Sox fan who lived through 83, where we won the division by a record 20 games, and then I don't remember what happened in the playoffs.
It was 33 games, wasn't it?
Well, it was some ridiculous
33
number,
and a half.
and then just got annihilated in the playoffs. Like having set the table, is that just basically one of my earliest Sox memories. I should just kind of like relax and take this in and rah and be happy. But my perspective is just it's so ridiculously bad right now that I'm having a hard time even just enjoying that we're going to get postseason baseball here. And I should appreciate
this is more 2012 than it was 5, 6, or 7. That's what we're seeing.
It definitely wasn't anything like 5.
No.
Yeah, that was an all-time great season.
Although we were sweating it in the home stretch in 05. It wasn't until they went to Boston and just hung, what did they hang 15 on them in that first game?
Yeah.
That's when you're like, all right. And then I don't know whose idea it was to go to the Angels game, the only loss.
I'll just say, Pat, like we should be proud of how far this team has come, because circa like 94, Reinsdorf would have traded half this team away about 3 weeks into the season, right? And been like, we're not going to get there. So at least we're. Yeah.
In the shortened season, they would have been like 25-8. And he'd be, no, we're not. Well, no, this is not it.
Yeah,
Not
we're
it.
too behind. We're too behind Cleveland. We're never going to catch them.
Yeah.
Ray's totally tuned us out because he gets none of these references.
No, what I was doing is I was looking at the actual odds if you placed a bet. Does anybody want to guess what the
They're going to be
cross-
artificially high because dumb money always follows the Cubs. Period. Like the Vegas odds on the Cubs are always ridiculous because all those idiot Cub fans are like, "Woo, Cubbies!"
Okay, woo Cubbies. Anybody want to guess what it is?
For who? The Cubs?
No, Cubs Sox.
No,
World
no,
Series.
double. Cubs
Cub-
Sox series.
Oh,
If it's
jeez.
If it's less than 50-1, it's I wouldn't even think about it. But it's got to be. I don't know. I would still put it at like 300-1.
I was going to say 175.
Oh, Matt, we need Pat. It just needs to be you and me because Matt is too good. It's 325-1. And
Yeah.
he just calls it off the top of his head. Oh, Jesus.
And I stick by my statement that that's artificially low because of dumb Cub money.
Yeah.
So you feel like it should be 600-1.
There is not a diehard Sox fan in the world who's super interested in that bet, no matter what the odds are. I'm sorry, I don't think so.
This is the last baseball bet.
It's going to cut off in about 5 minutes.
The last baseball bet I made was I think it was in Caesars. And the term Burley must go was included when I made the wager. That's how long ago it was.
Wait. You said Burley must go?
Yeah. That when you
Burley must go as in if he doesn't take the mound, this is off.
the bet's off, right?
Okay.
Right.
I somehow in my head I see you MF and Mark Burley placing that bet saying, I don't like Burley, he's got to get traded. But yeah, all right.
Oh God, no. That was, and that was, yeah, I'm gonna make this because we were making the bet at like noon. I don't know. We were
Right.
probably thinking I wasn't gonna see the first pitch. It was like the White Sox, Angels, and Burley must go. That's how long ago the bet was.
God bless Mark Burley. That guy got us through some rough times. He was there for some great times. He got us through some rough times.
Throw a ball game in an hour and a half and never even sniff 90.
How is that guy not coaching? Like, how isn't he not running an entire minor league system at this point, right? He had no super great breaking ball, no super great speed, no super great junk. He just played his tail off and pitched his ball. That's all he did. Like every kid who's being told by a scout somewhere, like, you're too small, your fastball is not fast enough, there should be a Mark Burley school that they could just buy all the stuff, right?
In at the knees, out at the knees, nipple high, 85, whew, gone.
And play defense. Don't forget that part.
Filth, just
Play
absolute
defense,
filth
man.
with the leather.
I've sent you that article on him, right?
Which one?
There's somebody who statistically tries to break down why Mark Burley had the career he did, and it came down to his defense.
Oh yeah.
It's just, I read it every year just to like remind myself of what greatness.
You said that was a while. You said that a lot, like just after he retired from the Jays.
Oh yeah, it's been like 10 years. Well, not like 10 years, but it's been something like that. And it's just such a compelling piece that should be taught to every kid in Little League.
Can you see that? No. Oh, anyway, that was it's a 3-picture clip of Dwayne Wise going up over,
The perfect game.
pulling it in, and it's the perfect catch to save the perfect game, July 23rd, 2009, signed by Dwayne Wise, not Mark Burley, Dwayne Wise.
I was going to show you my over my desk right here is Scotty Pod's game 2 9th inning homer, but I got a fake background up so you can't see it.
That a young Joe Walsh in the rain in U.S. Comiscular Park looked up and said, Pods is going to hit a home run, Daddy. And I said, he doesn't really hit home runs. He goes, he's going to do it. I know it. And as I'm
second one of the year, wasn't it?
What's that?
Wasn't it his second one of the year?
Yeah. And as I'm telling young Joe Walsh, it's okay if he just gets a base hit.
You got a base.
And Joe just looks at me and goes, told you, Daddy.
I want to know what I want Ray to look up the odds on what they were for pods. I mean, we didn't get to gamble per at bat then, but the odds on pods going yard there, 2001 maybe higher.
It's gotta be a walk-off game-winning World Series home run by a guy who had one in his last 2.5 seasons.
Ray, I think what we've learned here,
Yes.
never, regardless of what other context is, never bring up the White Sox unless you want this to turn into White Sox talk, because it's like such an affinity for that.
And what I learned from Scotty Pods going yard is when Joe Walsh has a serious, like, I'm gonna argue my gut feeling,
Follow your gut, man.
bet it.
Follow your gut.
The kid's nails, bet it.
Lay the money down.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we have made it to the end of our over an hour show. I'm going to be issuing the checks just as soon as I get a check from Matt. Matt knows about that check.
Oh
As soon
yeah,
as I
Ray,
get-
it's coming. It is coming. I guarantee it.
As soon as I get the check from Matt, I'm going to disperse it to everybody on this channel. I promise.
Ray,
Thanks, guys, for coming. Yes, sir. You're waiting on the check.
thank you for your production efforts again this evening, Ray.
Have a good night, everyone.
Wear those Beats
We'll
by
see.
Ray hat ears a little more, Ray.
Like that. Gotta know how to do it. Gotta know how to do it, guys. It's not by accident.
Hold it up like you're mixing.
Yeah, it's like